On the 13th of August 2009, at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, a memorial was held for the actress Evelyn Reed. The 3,000 attendees, a sea of somber faces, gathered to bid farewell to a true titan of the silver screen. The air was thick with a quiet, profound grief. Among them sat a man, tucked away in a seat where he wouldn't draw attention. He wept silently. It was Cole Harrison, then 64 years old. Why did he cry? After more than 3 decades, why did he shed tears for his former wife? The truth was, a bond of blood connected them. In 1975, when Evelyn's life was in grave danger, Cole Harrison gave his own blood to save her. That blood remained within her body for 34 years, until the day she died. And even after their divorce, Cole continued to watch over her from afar. When illness ravaged her life, he, along with his new wife, remained a steadfast pillar of support. In 2004, he cast her in a guest role on his own hit television series. It would be her final performance. This is the story of Cole Harrison and Evelyn Reed, a story of 2 people who loved each other but were forced apart, who continued to care for one another even after their marriage ended. It is a story of a love that, in the end, could not conquer the circumstances of its time. Hollywood, June 1970. On the backlot of Paramount Pictures, filming had begun on a new thriller, 3 of a Kind. The lead actress was Evelyn Reed. At just 23, she was already one of Hollywood's most luminous stars, celebrated for her breathtaking beauty and talent. Evelyn Reed was born in November 1946 inches, Beverly Hills, California. Her family was wealthy, having made its fortune in real estate, but their home was plagued by darkness. Her father was a violent man who routinely beat both his wife and Evelyn. He also had an affair with a live-in employee. Eventually, her parents divorced, leaving Evelyn with a lifelong search for a strong, idealized father figure. At 18, she entered the world of acting, and with her stunning looks and innate ability, she ascended to stardom with breathtaking speed. She appeared in a string of critical and commercial hits, including the iconic gangster film Asphalt Kingdom, opposite Hollywood legend Harrison Ford, and a celebrated Western with Clint Eastwood. The press began calling her the Diamond of Hollywood. On that same film set was another actor, Cole Harrison. He was 25, the younger brother of the immensely popular and respected actor Grant Harrison. Cole had graduated from UCLA and, at his brother's suggestion, had pursued acting. But he was still a relative unknown, a fledgling talent in the shadow of his famous sibling. At the time, Cole was the de facto leader of a notorious group of up-and-coming actors known as the Wolf Pack, infamous for their rebellious, anti-establishment attitude. On the first day of filming, their eyes met. According to Evelyn's younger brother Michael, it was love at first sight for both of them, but especially for Evelyn. She later described Cole's appeal, saying, "I was drawn to his wild, dangerous side." For Evelyn, who had always yearned for a strong paternal figure, the tough, confident, and fearless Cole seemed to be the embodiment of her ideal man. Their relationship deepened quickly. "I had a private phone number that only Cole knew," she once revealed. "Whenever he called that number, no matter how late it was, I would run to him." Evelyn's brother, who sometimes acted as her driver, witnessed their intimacy firsthand. In the car, he would pull her onto his lap, and she would melt into him, he recalled. They were completely absorbed in their own world. In November 1971, Cole went to the home of the head of the studio, Mr. Thompson, to announce his intention to marry Evelyn. But this union faced a significant obstacle: the stark disparity in their careers. Evelyn Reed was a top-billed superstar. Cole Harrison was still a struggling newcomer. Her fame and her income far surpassed his. A fellow actor once cynically advised Cole, "You've got to be man enough to control a star of Evelyn Reed's caliber." Taking those words to heart, Cole took Evelyn on a trip to New York City to visit the acclaimed director Martin Scorsese, with whom he had collaborated on the gritty crime films Avenues of Blood and Rabid Dog. "We're getting married and looking for a house in the city," Cole told the director. Scorsese was stunned. The gap between the celebrated Evelyn Reed and the up-and-coming Cole Harrison was immense. But their biggest challenge wasn't public opinion, it was their fathers. Both Evelyn's father and Cole's father were vehemently opposed to the marriage. The exact reasons for Evelyn's father's objection remain unclear, but Cole's father's reasoning was plain: a deep-seated prejudice against the profession of acting for a wife. In the 1970s, the prevailing belief in many parts of American society was that a woman's place was in the home after marriage. For an actress to continue working was considered highly unconventional. One day, Evelyn brought Cole to her family home. She knelt before her father and made a solemn promise. "I swear to you, we will never get divorced." With those words, her father relented. The remaining hurdle was Cole's father, who refused to give his blessing. It was Evelyn's own father who eventually intervened, persuading him to agree. On the 14th of February 1972, Valentine's Day, they held their engagement press conference at the Plaza Hotel in New York. When asked what they loved, however, the wedding was delayed. Shortly after giving his consent, Cole's father passed away, and the couple postponed their nuptials for over a year and a half. In September 1973, they were finally, officially married. Evelyn Reed was 26. Cole Harrison was 28. "I swear we will never get divorced." The vow Evelyn made to her father would be broken just 5 years later. But in that moment, all they saw was a future filled with happiness. The following year, an event would occur that would test Cole's devotion in the most profound way imaginable. By 1975, 2 years after their wedding, Cole Harrison's career was finally taking off. He had made a name for himself in gritty crime thrillers, and his work now kept him based primarily in New York. Evelyn, meanwhile, remained in Los Angeles, the hub of her television and film career. They lived a life of hurried phone calls and cross-country flights. Then, one day, something went terribly wrong. Evelyn collapsed and was rushed to the hospital, where she was diagnosed with an ectopic pregnancy. A fertilized egg had implanted outside the uterus, a life-threatening condition that required immediate emergency surgery. She was carrying Cole's child, a child that could not be saved. During the surgery, Evelyn lost a massive amount of blood and required a transfusion. Cole, who was in the middle of a shoot in New York, heard the news and immediately boarded the first flight to Los Angeles. He burst into the hospital and told the doctors, "Use my blood." He gave his own blood to save his wife. Evelyn's brother, Michael, later recalled her words. Even long after the divorce, she would say, "It makes me happy to know that Cole's blood is flowing inside me." From that moment on, they were more than just a couple in the eyes of the law. They were, quite literally, connected by blood. A marriage certificate can be torn, a legal bond dissolved, but a blood bond is different. Once inside the body can never be. Cole Harrison's blood was a part of Evelyn Reed. Evelyn recovered from the surgery, but the experience left an indelible mark on their relationship. The grief of losing a child, coupled with the fear of trying again, cast a long, dark shadow over their future. Evelyn's trials were not over. Shortly after the surgery, she was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare and severe autoimmune disorder that attacks the nervous system, causing weakness and, in serious cases, paralysis. At the time, treatments were still experimental, and the disease was greatly feared. Evelyn was hospitalized. Cole was in New York, filming a demanding lead role that required his full attention. No one would have blamed him for staying on set. The distance was great, and traveling back and forth was a grueling ordeal. But Cole was different. He used every break in his schedule to fly back to Los Angeles to be by his wife's side. An insider reported that Cole was running on no sleep. He would film all day in New York, catch a red-eye flight to Los Angeles, sit by her hospital bed all night, and then take the first flight back to New York to be on set in the morning. He did this for months. 6 months later, Evelyn was discharged. At a press conference for her comeback television drama, Tapestry of Flowers, she said, "My husband came to visit me so often. We've both been so busy we never really had time to talk." In a way, this was a blessing in disguise. We were able to truly connect. It seemed the crisis had brought them closer. But new problems were emerging. After Cole's father passed away, his mother came to live with them. In the 1970s, clashes between a wife and a mother-in-law were common, especially in a family like Cole's, which held traditional values. The friction between Evelyn, a working actress, and her mother-in-law, who believed a woman's place was at home, began to create a rift. The geographic divide also became a source of tension. Cole's work was in New York. Evelyn's was in Los Angeles. He asked her to move to New York to be with him, but her response was firm. "I can't leave LA right now." Evelyn was at the zenith of her career, with a constant stream of offers for movies, television, and endorsements. In 1978, she landed a coveted role in the latest Woody Allen film, solidifying her status as one of America's most beloved actresses. To step back now, she feared, would mean the end of everything she had worked for. A long-distance marriage, a clash of values with her mother-in-law, and the lingering sorrow of a lost child, these issues slowly but surely chipped away at their foundation. In January 1978, a single conversation brought everything to a head. January 1978, 4.5 years into their marriage, Cole Harrison posed a question to his wife that would define their future. "You have to choose," he said. "Have a child or have your career." It was the ultimate ultimatum. In the context of 1970s America, while the feminist movement was gaining momentum, the traditional expectation for women to prioritize family over work remained powerful. This was especially true in Cole's family. His mother desperately wanted grandchildren to carry on the Harrison name. For Evelyn, the choice was agonizing. 3 years earlier, she had lost a child. The fear of another pregnancy was undoubtedly real. More than that, however, was her unyielding passion for her craft. She had entered the industry at 18 and fought for over a decade to reach the pinnacle of her profession. To have a child would mean putting her career on hold indefinitely. In that era of Hollywood, there was no guarantee a female star could make a comeback after taking time off from motherhood. She could be forgotten. Evelyn gave him her answer. "I just can't choose to have a child." What did Cole think when he heard those words? He loved his wife. He had given his blood for her, had forsaken sleep to care for her. But he also desperately wanted a child of his own, and he felt the weight of his mother's expectations. Torn between love and reality, their paths diverged. Later, at her divorce press conference, Evelyn would state, "Cole and I did not part out of hatred. The bond of marriage may be broken, but I will always respect him as a man and as a human being with all my heart." Cole, for his part, said, "She was an actress I truly admired. It is my failure that I couldn't protect her." Neither blamed the other. They had simply chosen different paths. If the era had been different, if society's values had been different, perhaps their story would have had a different ending. But in 1978, in America, Evelyn Reed and Cole Harrison had to go their separate ways. On the 13th of February 1978, the day before their 5th wedding anniversary, Evelyn released a statement to the press announcing their official divorce. "Cole and I did not part out of hatred. The bond of marriage may be broken, but I will always respect him." The next day, February 14, Valentine's Day, the very same day they had announced their engagement 6 years earlier, Evelyn gave an interview from a film set in Aspen, Colorado. "I started thinking about divorce last summer," she said calmly, though her eyes betrayed a deep sadness. "This year, he pressed me to choose between having a child and my career. I just couldn't choose to have a child." After the divorce, Cole's behavior worried his friends. His close friend, the writer Sam Shepard, testified to his state. He was drinking and he was crying. He would sing at karaoke bars, something he never, ever did. For the stoic, reserved Cole Harrison to weep and sing in public showed just how shattered he was. Evelyn's longtime manager, Sarah Jenkins, said, "She truly loved Cole. They were divorced after 5 years, but not because they fell out of love. She used to say they were more like siblings. They stayed in touch even after they split. They were in love, but they had to separate. It was an impossibly painful choice." Their marriage, from 1973 to 1978, lasted only 5 years. But their story was far from over. A year later, in 1979, Cole Harrison remarried. His new wife was a private citizen named Isabel, a woman completely removed from the world of Hollywood. They went on to have a son and a daughter, and Cole began to build a new life. Meanwhile, in 1980, Evelyn Reed married the famous rock star Julian Slate. But inside Evelyn's heart, her feelings for Cole remained. Even after Cole remarried and started a new family, Evelyn could not let go of her feelings for her ex-husband. Her marriage to Julian Slate was short-lived, ending in divorce in 1984 after just 4 years. At the press conference, Evelyn famously remarked, "There were 2 men in the house. Julian Slate was a massive star with a powerful personality, and their egos inevitably clashed." Interestingly, Evelyn had become pregnant during her marriage to Julian, but chose to have an abortion, citing her career as the reason, the very same conflict that had ended her marriage to Cole. For Evelyn, her work as an actress was paramount. All the while, her thoughts of Cole never faded. Her manager, Sarah Jenkins, shared an anecdote. Whenever Evelyn was watching TV and Cole came on screen, she would light up and say, "Sarah, look, Cole's on TV," and giggle with delight. She reacted like a teenager. Even in her 40s and 50s, the mere sight of her ex-husband on a screen could make her face glow with happiness. Occasionally, Evelyn would call Cole's home. His wife, Isabel, would answer. When she realized it was Evelyn Reed on the line, she was understandably, sometimes taken aback. It was an awkward situation, but Evelyn would recount these stories to her friends with a laugh. Her brother, Michael, remembered her saying, "I just want to drive by Cole's house, just to be near it." Michael would gently dissuade her. "He has a new family now, Evelyn. It would only cause trouble. A love she couldn't have, but a love she couldn't relinquish." And what of Cole Harrison? He too continued to care for his ex-wife. In 1999, Evelyn faced a major crisis. A cosmetic procedure on her eyelids went horribly wrong, leaving them swollen and disfigured. She was forced to drop out of a major film role and became a recluse in her home. That same year, the Guillain-Barré syndrome she had first developed in her 20s returned. Compounded by the stress of caring for her aging mother, Evelyn's mental and physical health deteriorated. During this dark period, many people in her life drifted away. Her work dried up, and even her manager left. But Cole Harrison did not. While Evelyn suffered, he and his wife, Isabel, continued to offer their support. As her former manager, Sarah, stated, their connection was the real deal. Cole never abandoned her when she was struggling. Then, in 2004, Cole made a decision. He invited Evelyn to be a guest star on his wildly popular TV detective drama, Metropolitan Blue. By this time, Evelyn was far from the A-list star she once was. Offers were scarce, and her former radiance had faded. Cole gave his struggling ex-wife a chance. That episode would become Evelyn Reed's final screen appearance. On the 3rd of August 2009, in her home in the Hollywood Hills, Evelyn Reed passed away. The cause of death was a brain hemorrhage resulting from an irregular heartbeat. She was 62. Her body was not discovered until August 6, when her brother Michael, concerned after not hearing from her, went to her house. 3 days had passed. The media sensationalized it as a lonely death. The fact that a once-adored superstar had died alone, undiscovered for days, sent shockwaves through the public. But her former manager, Sarah Jenkins, contested the term lonely death. She argued that the narrative of a woman who, after multiple divorces, was abandoned by everyone was not entirely accurate. According to Sarah, taped to the wall of Evelyn's dressing room was a poem by the Spanish mystic St. John of the Cross, titled The 5 Conditions of a Solitary Bird. It reads, "The solitary bird flies to the highest point. The solitary bird does not seek companionship. The solitary bird sings softly." Evelyn looked at this poem every day. Perhaps she did not fear solitude. Perhaps she chose it. To live and fight alone as an artist, this may have been her personal creed. On August 13, at her memorial service, about 1,000 people came to pay their respects, from industry titans to lifelong fans. Her 2 ex-husbands, Cole Harrison and Julian Slate, were both in attendance. The actress, Meryl Streep, in her eulogy, said, "You would call me at all hours of the night. Time didn't matter to you." In her final years, Evelyn had made long, late-night phone calls to friends to soothe her loneliness. And in a corner of the venue was Cole Harrison. He sat in an inconspicuous seat, silently weeping for the woman he had divorced 31 years before. Meryl Streep also remarked, "Cole and Julian both came for 2 ex-husbands to be here together. Evelyn, you are a lucky woman. To have people who continued to love her even after she was gone meant her life was perhaps not so lonely after all." 6 years later, on the 2nd of August 2015, on a scorching summer day in Los Angeles, a memorial was held to mark the 7th anniversary of Evelyn's passing. Among the attendees was Cole Harrison. Now 70, he looked unwell. His complexion was pale, and beads of sweat dotted his brow. Those present whispered among themselves, concerned for his health. It was later revealed that at that very moment, his body was being consumed by cancer. It was gallbladder cancer, diagnosed just a few weeks after that memorial service. He must have known how sick he was. Yet, he pushed through his illness to attend the memorial for his ex-wife, the woman he had married 37 years earlier and divorced 31 years ago. That was the kind of man Cole Harrison was. After his diagnosis, Cole began treatment. He had suffered a stroke in 1994 and had since adopted a healthier lifestyle. But this new battle was far more severe. Still, he remained an actor to the very end, continuing to film his television series as much as his health would allow until the fall of 2015. But he could not beat the disease. On the 14th of March 2017, At 11:18 p.m., Cole Harrison passed away in a Los Angeles hospital from multiple organ failure. He was 72. His wife, Isabel, was by his side until the very end. Cole Harrison married twice. His first wife was Evelyn Reed. They divorced after 5 years. His second wife was Isabel. They were married for 38 years, from 1979 to 2017. His marriage to Isabel was more than 7 times longer than his marriage to Evelyn. He built a home and raised a family with Isabel. And yet, he never forgot his first wife. He watched over her, supported her through her darkest times, gave her her final role, wept at her funeral, and attended her memorial even as he was dying. Why did he do so much? Perhaps the answer lies on that day in 1975 when he gave his blood to save her, literally leaving a part of himself inside her. A blood tie cannot be severed by a court of law. It cannot be erased by a divorce decree or a new marriage. For Cole Harrison, Evelyn Reed was never just an ex-wife. She was the woman who carried his blood. She was my wife, even after we parted. This simple statement seems to reveal the truth of his heart. Their marriage lasted only 5 years, but in that time, they were joined by blood. A piece of paper can be torn, but that bond could not. The blood he gave her in 1975 remained in her body until the day she died in 2009. And in his heart, his love for her remained until the day he died. They were two people who loved each other, but were forced apart, torn apart by the expectations of their time, the clash between the belief that a woman's place was in the home and one woman's burning desire to live as an artist. If they had lived in our modern era, where women are more able to balance a career and a family, perhaps their story would have ended differently. But they did not, and so they continued to love each other from afar. Evelyn would smile like a girl when she saw Cole on TV, wishing just to drive past his house. Cole would support his ex-wife through her suffering, weep at her funeral, and attend her memorial while battling his own fatal illness. Their love never ended. It simply changed its form. We didn't break up because we hated each other. Evelyn Reed's words echo with a quiet, timeless truth.